Hello, everyone. Welcome to Aon's Cyber Pulse podcast. I'm Michael Parrant, and I'm joined today by Alberto, a director in our Cyber Solutions Group, to discuss the recent regulatory and judicial developments in cybersecurity space, which is a growing focus. We'll also take a moment to look into the future of regulation and how companies may wish to respond. Before we get started, it's important to note that we're not providing legal or financial advice in this podcast. We are providing general information only, and as you would expect, we're not taking into account any particular circumstances or objectives that may be relevant for particular businesses. So, Alberto, perhaps we can start broadly by taking our listeners through the current state of regulation in the cybersecurity space here in Australia.
Thanks, Michael. For a number of years now, regulatory pressure has been constantly growing regardless of industry and company size. However, due to other events such as COVID-19 pandemic and challenging macroeconomic conditions, it has not received the appropriate level of attention from companies. Also, from an insurance standpoint, the vast majority of cyber insurance claims in the last few years relate to first-party costs such as ransomware demands and network interruptions. The latest reform on critical infrastructure regime is a key focus for regulators. However, we should never lose sight of the fact that directors and senior management are still responsible for a company's overall cybersecurity posture, and the expectations are that this operational risk is properly and proactively managed and addressed.
So, in your view, Alberto, what are the imminent regulatory changes that organizations need to have on their radars in this current environment?
As mentioned before, the critical infrastructure reform is one. However, there are more to come, such as, for example, potential reforms in the Privacy Act. The new federal government has appointed a standalone Minister for Cybersecurity, which reaffirms the focus on cybersecurity. Whilst not regulatory, the war in Ukraine has put a spotlight on sanction and related exposure.
Okay, can you tell us about any relevant court cases that can help inform the responsibilities of corporates regarding cyber?
There are a couple of cases that come to mind. Firstly, the RI Advice case early this year is one. In summary, the FSL holder was found in breach of their duty to properly address their cybersecurity. The company was fined and subject to remediation actions. The commentary in the final judgment could potentially create a precedent not just for AFSL holders, but also for any company subject to the Corporation Act. The Bank of Queensland, just a few weeks ago, was the first bank to be fined by the ACCC for failing to comply to the Consumer Data Right Protection. Although the $132,000 fine was relatively small given the company $500 million revenue base, it highlights the governance, operational, and risk management risks, as well as creating an important legal precedent.
And finally, what should businesses do in response to this changing regulatory environment for cyber?
A proactive approach is paramount. Companies and directors have to take ownership of the changing nature of this cyber risk. It is likely that regulatory and development of standards will continue to evolve at pace. Business should be continually reviewing and challenging the status quo and have a clear cybersecurity strategy, whether internally or externally addressed. Businesses should think about both cybersecurity and cyber resilience. Cybersecurity is what you are expected to do to avoid a cyber incident. Cyber resilience is how to cope with it after an event. In my opinion, cyber insurance fits neatly between these two and can help before and after the event. No company will be 100% secure, nor can be 100% only rely on IT department or external provider, if any. At Aon, we aim to help our clients to improve their overall cybersecurity posture, which can have a material impact across the entire organization and not just from an insurance standpoint.
Thanks, Alberto, for your expert commentary. And I'm sure our audience have found your insights to be helpful as they think about their cyber risk and their cybersecurity strategies. Well, that's all we have time for today. And thanks for listening. If you have any questions about what we've been talking about today or need any assistance with any other services that Aon provide, please feel free to reach out to your cyber team at Aon.